Present.
Hey, welcome everybody to Battle Pirates Crib. This is the first time I think we've ever been at the have our Wednesday show at the start of the raid. Oh boy, this is and it's a special raid it appears so far. I mean, it's the Vengeful shitstorm from what I've seen so far. And my original plan was to have either Dr. Death or George that are in Alpha screen share a hit on a 100 or 102. I'm not sure that we might see that at this point.
Not for me. I'm taking the fucking night off.
Yeah. And I'm not even really sure how to deal with this at this point in time. It appears that most players are losing their fleets at least in the 100. Are they also losing their fleets in the 102?
Oh yeah. I mean, I can tell you what's happening in the targets and stuff, but I'll wait until we kind of get into it a little bit more.
Okay. Alrighty. Well, let's go. Mike, do you want to start sharing?
You just got to put me on. Oh shit! I'm sorry.
Nope.
I presented, but I didn't share. My bad.
Yep.
Is that the first time Mike's ever actually sworn live?
It's not the first time he's told me that he's screen sharing and he's not, but yeah.
Yeah.
I know
probably the first time it's probably the first time I fucking outright lied.
So
been playing kickside games too much, huh?
Yeah. I think you're right, actually.
Okay.
I think I got it now.
Alrighty. There we go. I will put you on present now that you're there. And let's go ahead. They were actually busy this week. We're not going to talk about the raid for a couple minutes, but as far as the bug fixes and some of the improvements, I thought they were a lot of them were positive, and some of them I still don't know what they mean, which is pretty standard with the bug fixes. FM able to get the full amount of points without completing the target. Was that some sort of undocumented feature that I was unaware of?
Apparently, and I wish I knew about it because holy crap,
it was only off a point or two.
Oh, is that what it means?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure because I noticed. I was only hitting the 120s and I was coming up like 1 point short.
See, that read to me completely different.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like you're doing a little bit of the target and you get the full points is what. Yeah, that's what it reads. But yeah, that's not okay. So if it's that inconsequential, I guess we can move on if that was the case.
No, forget what I said. What I said is accurate.
Wait, I forgot to introduce everybody. From left to right, it's Magic Mike.
Yeah, hi, but from left to right, that's okay.
On YouTube, yeah.
Yeah, I just let me correct myself. I didn't read it correctly, but I was experiencing not the full amount of points for the finished target. You're right. It says it different. Go ahead.
Okay,
hello, everybody.
Hey, Father George.
Yeah, hi.
Hey, Dr. Death.
Hello.
And this is Hefe, and we'll move on to Uranium Expedition buildings cannot be destroyed. I know people are running across this with the Titanium Expedition, but I assume this is a remnant of the refactor.
I think so.
Yeah, I haven't been doing the Uranium Expeditions because Bat Rays rule the SSRB, so no reason to do them. Canceling an ongoing slow refit was visually returning a ship to an already full fleet. That's been going on for a long time. Well, at least my issue was I was getting it a ship that was just finished the repair, a refit, would pop up in a fleet that was out on the water. It wouldn't actually be there, but I couldn't get access to that ship until I returned to my base. This sounds sort of similar.
And yeah, so the original, do you remember the original bug that this was from?
You can tell me. Go ahead.
So The very first time this bug actually, I'm sorry, I was trying to get an extension for my USB because I want to go outside and have a cigarette because I'm just aggravated right now. So the original bug was you could actually start a build or a refit, fit out the fleet, and then put it out in the water. And when it would come up, you could actually get 6 hulls in a battle, which freaked people out like fucking crazy. So that's the the original time that happened. And apparently, you can still. I know that you could still have it go back into the slot, but they made it so that it wouldn't show up in battle or anything like that. And then it went away for a while, and now it's partially back, I guess. I don't know.
Okay, and it seems like they fixed it. So
we hope.
Post-combat user interface pop-up would disappear before players could interact with it. Forsaken mission. Yeah, that's been going on for quite a while, and it was also inaccurate. And the irony of the whole thing is people complain about all the pop-ups in the FM. They get rid of it after sniping is gone. That's the part I found to be the most upsetting. When the players were asking for it, it just they couldn't do it. But then all of a sudden, afterwards, after the players didn't care anymore about the pop-ups on that, they got rid of it. And yeah, they were inaccurate. They would show 0 resources. They wouldn't tell you what shard dropped, things like that, and it would just pop up for a second before you went out to the map. So, yeah, the only upsetting part about that is, if they had done this a year ago, it would have been, it would have been considered a positive. But after it was useless, it was sort of a negative.
Yep.
The next one I don't think is true. Remove limited hull icon from gathering. Oh, okay. Maybe it's the weapon that was being displayed with the Brennus bat ray. The way I looked at it was the big exclamation point you have over your second Brennus bat ray. It's still there. I don't quite understand it reading through it this way again.
It's I think it was the that little icon in the corner of the. Is that what they were talking about? Because on those limited weapon special for the flags, they had that little icon in the bottom right-hand corner.
Okay. Yeah, I was thinking the ones like when you're looking at you're in the dock and you got the big exclamation point on your Brennus, that's still there. So yeah, maybe what you're talking about, but it's probably inconsequential as far as gameplay goes, so we can move on. User interface update to Blueprint Shards Lab to display arrows when 2 tabs are available.
So I'm just going to ask this: if they can do that, right? Why
can't
they?
What does that mean?
So if there's 2 tabs to display, there'll be arrows so that there are tabs to display. Now, if they bothered to do this little thing, why can't they make the arrows go to the left when you're opening up your chests? I'm just curious. Just saying.
Yeah.
It's not like they don't have that in other aspects of the game. I mean, it's in there. They use it every time when they have a couple of offers and stuff, or the pop-ups that tell you, what's coming up in game. That's there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Let's go to the next slide. Alrighty. The reticule was appearing offset when the fleet was stacked. Okay. I guess, if you had an aura or something like that.
Beats me.
They were appearing offset, but the fleet was actually perfectly stacked. Is that the way I'm reading that?
No, it's saying the reticule was. So it's like the targeting thing. Like, how
I'm thinking the reticule is sort of like the aura or I'm sorry, go ahead. George?
Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, now we can.
Okay, there we go. Reticule, it's like the crosshairs in a fucking scope is the reticule.
Yeah, and I know what it is. Yeah.
No, guys. You guys. They're talking about the ship, the Eradicator, the hull that we're using this raid. At the bottom where the nose was, at the bottom of the inside your dock, where the bottom of the picture was, it covered up the health bar. So if you had damage there, it wasn't showing unless you were at least.
No, that's something completely different, and that's the last one. That's the last one here.
Yeah, it's the bottom of that.
Yeah, that's a completely different thing, and yeah, okay.
I'm sorry, I got him confused.
Yeah.
Maybe, do they maybe mean the little box in the corner that no one really fucking pays attention to? Like where it shows where
my only thought is like you have the aura surrounding your ship, or you get the range of your ship. They were showing that the ships weren't stacking right, but they were. That's the only thing I can get out of that, but I don't know. I did ask Chris, and I did ask Chris on Discord once I saw this list if he would come on and explain a couple, but he didn't choose to. So, number of walls was exceeding the cap if placed quickly. So maybe people out there with 900 walls.
Oh, see that one. I'm gonna have to take credit for that one because I broke walls because I was behind. I'd only had built before they did the last update. I'd only built like I don't know 300-400 walls. I was way behind, so I took a bunch of land, put it together, and I just started blasting out walls to try and get them so I could batch them together and upgrade them. I ended up going not only over on the walls, but I actually had walls stacked on walls. I did all sorts of fun stuff that day. And that messed up stuff because it caused problems. So I'm glad they fixed that.
Okay. I'm going to take credit for one coming up soon.
All right.
I'm surprised that it took that
this long.
It wasn't already in the works. No, not this one. But it's coming up. Currency icons are missing from the store on Kixeye Live. Kixeye Live is what? Does that mean the live server? Or a show that they used to have? I used to call it Kixeye Live, but I don't think they did. But I'm not sure what Kixeye Live is. I'm assuming that means the live server, but I could be wrong.
It's usually what they refer to, but I don't know why they would. They usually, or in the past, they've just said in game, not Kixeye Live. I mean, maybe it was something that was just specific to the Kixeye site. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not certain. Button text was cruise. Button text was missing when a fleet is out at sea.
I don't know. Maybe there's a secret button on the game that we don't know about yet.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know whose secret button we're talking about, but let's move on. Eradicator ship image was covering health bar in dock.
That's the nose.
If you had up to like 40, if you had up to like 40, 45 minutes, somewhere around 40 minutes of damage, the sprite or whatever you want to call it, the graphic was covering up the health bar while they were repairing.
Yep.
And so you couldn't mix your ships around and understand what the level of damage was because at that point they all appeared to be undamaged. And this is the one that surprised me because I saw all the complaints on Discord and elsewhere, and this was not in the queue until I got in the queue. That's the one I found surprising that was not already in the works. This did not, however, impact the Brutal Eradicator, which, if you take a look at it, droops a little bit low. And that's maybe we'll see a fix on that in the next update because the ticket's been filed. So it's a good thing, but recall button added in. These next ones are improvements on the right-hand side, and I was actually thinking about some of this stuff, but never communicated it because it's all of them combined prevent you from having to skip from if you want to go from a battle or your base to your fleet, it sort of lets you skip over unnecessary server jumps. Going from your base to the map to the battle. A lot of these help with that, and there's less little clock spinning going on, which is a good thing. So right now, you can, if your ship is not in battle, you can recall it from your dock. You don't need to go out to the map in order to do that. If your ship is in battle and you're in your base, you can go directly to that. If you look at the fleet, it'll say it's in battle, and then below it, it'll say join battle, and allows you to jump directly from your dock to the battle, skip over the map server or the map, and just go directly there, which I thought was pretty cool. And then updated UI text when fleet is in battle. So yeah, it shows that you're in battle. This is helpful if you like to auto things. And
If auto actually worked now.
What?
If auto actually worked.
Well, I realize they take 45 seconds damage more with my bat rays in a SSRB. I take 8 minutes instead of it's like 7 and change instead of 6 and change, auto versus driving. So my bat rays, I just auto the SSRBs. And then, we just explained the previous one, updated user interface text when a fleet is in battle. So if you look at your dock and you look at all your ships, your 15 ships or whatever, it'll show in battle if your ship is in battle. The locator one, bases sort and locator by difficulty. It still doesn't take you to the closest one. It's just, they just sorted them. It's not back in the day when,
They went to the closest,
it would take, yeah, it's still, it's meh. Doc, this one I don't quite understand. Reduced selection area for selecting fleets. Is this to prevent you from selecting the wrong ship?
Yes.
I sort of played around with it a little bit, but I wasn't.
Yeah, it's
certain.
like when you go down and you have like a ship in the bottom right. If you click on it, sometimes you get the one that's on the next loop of ships that come in.
Yeah.
I haven't tested it, but I think that's what they had tried to do.
Yeah. Okay. And the other ones, I'm not sure why we have to have a setting for this, because normally you go into a battle and it's selecting your flagship, your number one spot. And if you go into your settings in the right-hand corner and drop down, it's in the effects, it's just above hardware acceleration. And when you go into a battle, all your ships will be selected. So that's it,
Well, after 8 years of, or 7.5 years or whatever of clicking, up and getting right, I'm not going to use that.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, it's good. It's good. It's whatever. I'm not even sure, why wasn't it like that from the beginning? I don't know. Probably because you really couldn't control, at the beginning, you couldn't control all your ships simultaneously. There was no down button. There was those buttons. At the beginning, you had to click on ships and move them around independently. There wasn't a lot of, the keyboard commands have expanded greatly since right at the beginning. Lady Cat's how to leave one in the corner. I'm assuming you're meaning a ship. You push the, once you select them all, once they're all selected, you push the shift button and the number of that ship in the dock. So, alrighty. And we're joined by Dr. Death for the 4th or 5th time. I'm guessing he's having mic difficulties, but
no, my Wi-Fi dropped on me for some reason.
Oh, okay. I thought your wife, originally I thought you said your wife dropped something on you, but the Wi-Fi thing works as well. So unless anybody has anything on the bug fixes and improvements, do we want to move on? Well, not backwards, but the other way. Okay, let's move forward. to Vengeful Shitstorm. Let's go from the splash page and see what we got. All right. I'm not sure. I mean, we've kept the people listening about bug fixes for, 20 minutes or so.
Yep.
Do we want to discuss
Press them even more?
Yeah. I mean, because originally, I'm in beta. My raid didn't start till exactly when the show started, so I don't have any experience besides listening to people and whatnot on this. So I have a tier 9 set, which is a 100 and 102. Same points as we've seen previously. One drops the Annihilator Cannon Shard, and the other one drops the Stalker Launcher Shard. And we'll get into the details of those later. But my initial impression was, what was the first one? The 102, a Shrike target, because of what we've seen historically. And it appears that from what I've heard, both of them could be Shrike targets, because they don't appear to be Eradicator targets from what I've seen.
Both of them have the cab field buildings, so yeah, they're kind of, I don't know if there's a bias like there has been in the past, but they're both designed so you can do them with either.
Okay. Well, except for nobody, besides, I'm not going to mention any names, have any Apex Predators, or not, never mind, have any Shrikes built. At least so far. But and then tier 8 set gives you 2.2 million as opposed to 10 million for a full set. But I've also heard people putting their Eradicators into the 80s and also dying. There has never been a release in the briefing as far as what target is tuned for which hulls and what condition. We've normally always seen that historically, especially at the beginning of a raid set, so people understand. But we have not seen that yet. Anybody have anything on this? I mean, because we could talk. What I'm thinking is Dr. Death and George, if you guys want to talk about your experience so far with targets, or should we wait till because we're going to go through the prizes, we're going to do all that nonsense. So you guys want to do that now?
I mean, yeah, I can tell you guys what I've found thus far that's really depressing. I mean, it's
okay.
So the reason why people are losing fleets in the 80s as well, in the S, because I went and tested in the S target just to see how everything kind of interacted. And I have to apologize to everyone because I also screwed up my math, because apparently the building damage calculation is not like when you're doing, building damage X, it's actually calculated separately than damage, which is not how we've been doing it for I don't know how long. So I'm trying to find some clarification on that to adjust everything, because apparently the build I have it wasn't doing what it should have been doing on paper. So
can you explain that a little bit better? You're talking about like the siege battery and siege targeting.
So what they're doing is it looks like the building damage stacks multiplicatively, and then it's outside of the damage calculation. So you do the damage calculation first, do the building damage calculation for the stacks, and then do the two together to get actual damage, which is really fucked up. But whatever. I'm gonna go back and adjust it. I have to redo like a 2 or 3 complete damn spreadsheets now. But what I've been finding in the targets, just 2 armors, which is 0.2% difference. That hull that had only 2 armors as opposed to 4 was dying more than twice as fast. It was taking more than twice the damage than the other hulls that had the armor. Which is absolutely nuts. I mean, just 2 armors, 0.2% is insanely. I mean, it's just crazy. Which then leads me to go, hey, maybe we should try doing a completely like full defense build. But I I'm sure as shit not going to coin shit this time.
I was sort of thinking about that with, in the previous show, thinking about that was with the brutal.
Yeah, I mean it might. I mean, you can do if you use the oh shit, what the hell's it called? One of those specials that does for just ballistic, and then use the reflective coating. I mean, it's going to cut down your damage, but if you're using that to tank everything else, it might actually do really well.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing is, if you lose a hull in that target, you're fucked. I mean, it's just the stack, because of the 20% is 25%, whatever the hell the stack is for the defense.
I think it's 20 on the
makes a
on
huge
the base,
difference,
and then 30 on the flag.
Yeah, makes a massive difference. Absolutely massive difference, both for doing damage to the turrets and for your defense. I mean, you start taking damage like stupid amounts quickly when you lose one. So it's just, this is just bad. I mean, the whole thing's just, it's not. This is one of those things where we go into the what's fun, what's not, and it's you can consider some difficulty fun. Trying to figure things out is fun. Trying to avoid X, Y, and Z, because otherwise you're completely, absolutely just butt sex raped. No, that's not fun. That's not even close to fun. So
I haven't had a chance to look at the Discord or the forum since this started. I'm assuming, I don't know if anybody else has had that experience. Are they going as crazy or crazier than they were during the last raid of the skirmish cycle?
Worse.
Yeah, I assume so. Yeah. Yeah. I would assume so, based on what I've seen as far as what's going on here. Because they didn't, we're going to get into some of the intel and what they told us. I guess we can start with some basic things. Does anybody think evade matters? Besides, splash and evade are vaguely connected, but not a huge thing. Is it something that you were going to put on your build?
No, I don't think evade is something that, with the limited amount of things that you need to add. I mean, you have to add certain things with a limited amount of slots, which really sounds crazy with 6 special slots, but it's not worth taking up a slot for evade as opposed to hyper 30. You know what I mean?
Well, hyper 30 has evade in it, so it's got 30% evade. So there is some evade in there.
Yeah, but the splash damage reduction is what is key, because what looks like it's doing a lot of the damage is the flamethrower turrets. Now, what I did notice is if you're moving, you take a lot less damage, right? Because it makes sense. You're in the splash, the way the splash functions, which might be changing, or which will be changing apparently. But so I haven't seen anybody test a high speed build yet. I would like to see it, because I have a feeling that if you're going fast enough, you can avoid that damage significantly. But again, I'm not going in and doing crap today. I'm so dejected from this whole thing. I just shut the fucking game down.
Okay. I mean, the other way to at least limit the damage would be to, have, like I was talking about earlier, like use the brutal eradicator as your distractor tank, and then bring in the rest of them from a different angle, and then have it take that fire, and then you kill it with the rest of your ships.
And I think that is going to be the way to actually do these targets for the least amount of damage, is being able to drive with that as a tank. The only catch is, I don't know if anyone noticed, there's a whole lot of fucking lag. I was having problems just controlling my fleet, period. It just, I mean, at one point my flag would not respond. It just drove right into damage, and by the time I got it to turn around and go back in the corner, it was half dead.
My biggest problem is I'm running now. See, I'm not running a real high speed. I'm running a 68 combat speed, and I cannot outrun the thrower. It hits me every time.
Let me check mine, because when I was doing it, I was on the edge of the.
But the splash radius, the splash radius on that thrower is very small.
Yeah, I'm only running a 66. I think the key with that one is that you have to keep as far like the biggest distance that you can. And it is a thrower. So what happens is if you can get in there and activate it at an oblique angle and then turn away, it's still going to fire at you, but you're also increasing the distance between you. So you'll have a little bit more room behind each of the firing.
Out of
Well, no, see,
curiosity,
what I've noticed though, George, what I've noticed on this target, because when I come down in the 100 and they've got that one that sits on the little island and then one that sits on the main island right there that they can catch you in that crossfire right there. If you run it a straight line down, right, that first one that you can catch off the small island with the oil rig or whatever it is, it'll start firing at your flag, but your flag gets out of its range, right? It stops firing at the flag and retargets onto the other ships behind. I've had that happen to me now 4 times in a row.
See, I just stacked them when I was trying to activate them, so I don't know.
It shouldn't stop though and retarget, should it?
In the past, they haven't. I mean, ours don't.
But that's exactly what it's doing. It'll take, it's got like 7 or 8 different fireballs that come out, right? You'll see the first 3 go after the flag, and then it'll redirect, and the rest of them shoot at the group of 4.
Yeah, see, I was stacking, so I don't know. I was only running three hulls to do the damage, which I mean, I did get one done, and I did still lose that last hull that only has the 2 armor slots in it, but it was like 4 hours of damage. I'm like, what the hell? Because once you lose that last hull, you're just screwed. I mean, everything else just starts taking damage up the ass, and that is just not cool, because particularly if you can't guarantee the connections and stuff, and you're having lag, and anything goes wrong and you lose one hull, you essentially are going to lose a ton. I mean, this is another level of punitive design.
Right, but this has been this way for a while. They've built this now into the fleets. This seems to be Kicksey's plan going forward.
can I break in and ask a couple questions?
Absolutely.
As far as your building damage percentage on the ships that you guys are running, what are you running at?
Mine's only at 400%.
Okay.
The
And
other-
Dr. Death?
The other build that I have that someone else is running is 1400.
Yeah, mine's 1431.
I'm running 941, and then I've also got the demo squad on.
Okay. Well, yeah, the demo squad should make some difference. And also, how many armors do you have, and which one you have? What?
I'm
How many
running
ferrite?
I've got two ferrite on each hole, and then I've got one D1C and one D2R on each hole.
Okay. And George?
I went folded ferrite. I mean, that's
But you got
the
4. How
best.
many you got? You got 4 or you got 2?
I got 4 on 2 of them and 2 on that third one. That's the one that will just die.
I imagine
Okay,
having
but
an extra
the
2
other one's
ferrites makes a
sitting-
difference.
But you got some other ones sitting in the corner for
Yes.
the okay.
For the stacks,
So
yes.
you got the full bonus for the auras, but
Yes.
and again, you mentioned it earlier. What's the difference you're taking as far as damage between the ones with the full armor and
More than double. So the
Okay.
difference
So
in
that's
the,
it. Almost
the
feels like there's another mechanic involved. Like these things are adding deflection as opposed to just straight resistances, right? The way you described it.
It's either that or the damage is so excessive that 0.2%. I mean, literally the number difference is for ballistic, for example, with 4 of them you have 99.628. For just 2 of them you have 99.419. I mean, it's literally 0.2% difference, but you're taking more than double the damage.
But that's how does that? I'm trying to figure out how that makes sense.
Mechanically, I have no idea how the hell that's happening. And the other thing is too I was watching a couple of different battles. I watched one that had the high building damage build. I was doing mine. I didn't see anybody get a full frenzy stack, which really is bothering me. That's a big thing. If we can't get a full frenzy stack, I mean, that's a massive amount of resistance there.
Yeah. And you sort of need, the way the frenzy runs different than the bloodthirst is you sort of need to have them all in range when they kill the ships. They all need to do partial damage. It's not like it gets passed on to the ones parked in the corner.
Well, no.
Right.
The key, you know what the key to the problem is, don't you? In order to get that full frenzy stack, you've got to be able to kill enough targets before the 7-second decay, and you can't do it.
Well, you can,
can't
but
not
you
just kill them
have to
fast enough.
sit. You have to sit in all of their fire. Is the problem?
Yeah, and your fleet's dead if you do.
Yeah, that could be part of the solution. I mean, you know, what I'm trying to do is trying to tease a solution out of, or at least a path forward out of the two of you based on your experiences there. And you know, I'm assuming there is a solution.
Bucks in the level 40s. You can auto the targets with bucks in the level 40s. The bottom tier set.
Yeah. But I'm saying as far as the solution to, you know, with these top tier things, they don't make them so that they're most of the time that they're just, oh, okay, it's impossible. Just you know, sign up with you know, what's his face and just blitz the crap out of everything. They at least try. You know, I mean, the same, you know, target designer has been around for a long time. There's usually some sort of secret, you know, there's some secret sauce here that you need to sort of figure out the combination of things. And it feels like from what I'm hearing is it's tuned for maximum building damage and having at least 4 ferrites or 3 ferrites in one of the D6 armors that were released in the FM. Is what I'm hearing. Again, I have no experience because
I wouldn't use any of the armor from the FM. I mean, it doesn't add up to the same resistances. I mean, you want to use the folded ferrite.
Yeah. Well, okay. I mean, yeah, it could be that. I'm just saying, as far as it feels like at this point, the radioactive is doing more damage than ballistic, right?
Well, I don't know about that. I don't know how the new radioactive weapon for the new ship is going to do. It might do better, but like
I'm talking about the damage they're putting out.
Oh yeah, the damage they're putting out is definitely the radioactive's the one eating my fleet. I'm getting hit by the ballistic constantly throughout the entire hit on the target, and it's barely scratching me. The long range ballistics barely put a dent on me. But once I get into range of one of those throwers, I start losing chunks of health.
Okay. All right.
I mean, the best, because I did a whole lot of resistance calculations, and the best one that I could get without the frenzy, I think I actually did use let's see, I used the ballistic, what the hell is it called? Layer panels and reflective coating, and then one of the FM armors. I'm sorry, ballistic FM armors, and then 3 of the radioactive ones. But that's just it. That's taking up two special slots for defense. So I don't know.
Yeah, maybe though the way we have to go with the flagship and then just tank it.
I think that is the best option, honestly.
Okay. But yeah, but the flag also does the most damage. So yeah, there is a trade-off there as far as what you're going to swap out. But yeah, it's again, I haven't hit the target, so should we move on? See what the next slide has for us?
Yeah.
We can go back. I don't know if people are ready to talk about the Shrike. It might be too soon. Or is everybody ready to talk about the Shrike?
I mean, at this point, I don't like abandoning builds, but shit, I'm not happy with the Eradicator at all.
Yeah, but it's also a couple hours in, and we have the same issue. It wasn't as bad as it is now, but we had a similar issue last raid, you know, where, you know, because I went from the last raid cycle, I went from 6 minutes damage per target to, in the next one, I got like 20 something, 30. And then at the start of the raid, I was getting like 3 hours of something of damage. It went down to about an hour, but I was getting like 3 hours from 6 minutes as they went through. It just appears that, the ham-handed decider of the amount of damage we're taking is definitely in charge at this point. And I'm just, I'm not ready to, okay, so yeah, you hate the Eradicator, so we gotta go get all these points to get the Shrike and the weapons and specials and whatnot. That's not a good. It doesn't sound like a great, a great time as far as getting the Shrike at this point.
No, no, people are not gonna be happy this rate. I don't think.
I mean, people are already not happy. I mean, I can tell you right now that there's at least a dozen players that were like, yeah, fuck this, I'm taking the night off, because just like in the past, if no one's engaging, they are going to do something, because that's how they kind of gauge. If they messed up, they go by metrics. And if people aren't engaging, that means that something's wrong, and they'll look at it again. And it might just be because, like, for example, like a really good example is one of the calculations that I used in the past always was really close, apparently, because we didn't have anything that was doing stupid like 1400% building damage. So our numbers were always close enough where, it just kind of worked out when we played. But if in this instance, the difference between 400% and 1400%, depending on where you put that number, is going to make a massive difference or very little difference to your DPS. And apparently it's not the way that we thought it was. So that's going to change a whole lot of, like, on the build that I have, I can tell you right now, I'm probably going to take out Autoloader 3 and put in Siege Targeting 4 instead. It's like things like that. And it goes back to, how much transparency we getting, because that would have been really nice to know before I started building these fucking things, not on the first day of raid and no build tokens in the raid. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, with the Shrike, it's a little bit clearer. There's no torpedo turrets in the targets. There's a bunch of cav, field buildings, which I mean, if Imri's not in your world, you can probably go in and prep out the buildings and then go in with your Shrikes. I mean, I'm not sure, but I don't think we're going to need cloak. I think we're going to need a whole lot of building damage. I think that's going to be the foot. Like when I do the Shrike build, I mean, I threw one up, I think, on the Bacon page, and it was at like 1400. Like, it was some stupid amount of building damage, which means that I'm not going to really concentrate on the shockwave at all. I'm going to do just like with the Hydra when I designed that one. It's going to be all damage on the flechettes. So, about there. So Hefe and Mike haven't started the raid yet? Is that?
Yeah, that's what they've been saying.
Okay. Right.
When does yours start, Mike?
It started at 7, same as the show.
Okay. So you're not multitasking and trying to do...
Can't.
Aha. See, now, Lady Cat... So, Lady Cat, I know this is going to be a delay because the chat falls behind us, but... So you did... She went into an 81 with her Eradicators and apparently did not have a good time of it. So the question I have, though, is, was it a full fleet? Like, did you have a couple that were doing damage and the rest of them in the corner, or did you go in with less than a full fleet? Because what I found in the S target is if you don't have those stacks, you're just fucked. And if that carried over into the 80s targets, oh, that's just going to be that's going to be a bad raid all around.
Yeah.
Ah, 2 armor. See, so it is. It's carrying over into that one too. See, that I really, that is not a good way to design targets. That's just like I said before, it's a new level of punitive damage design.
think I have 2 of my ships have 4 armors on it. The other 2 have 2, and one has a 2 in it. One of the other 2 has a 2 in the DC-1 or the D1C or whatever. The D1. And then I do have a blank flag for the corner.
But did you went with the same damage profile that I did, right? Like,
Except yeah.
okay.
Yeah, I think I have a different engine, but
Yeah, you have speed 6.
I can't even look at the moment. Yep. So I had the special that came with it, siege targeting, siege battery.
Yeah, I'm going to modify one of the slides. So George and Dr. Death can talk about, as soon as the game loads for me, I'll post my specials and whatnot and see, based on your experience, you think these are going to work better or worse.
Do I need to do anything?
I think you'll need to refresh, but I'll tell you when to do it.
Okay.
You'll just need to refresh the slide page.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. But yeah, still loading.
All right. Yeah, I haven't tried anything yet, actually.
Okay.
And I still have one is still kind of refitting. It's just got a couple hours, and based on what I was hearing, I mean, I was going to spend coin to finish the refit, but I don't know now.
See, what really puzzles me is the last, year and a half, 2 years, they've kind of pushed this whole, wanting us to build a certain way, and they've kind of, like on PvE, have laid the path of how, roughly what we should build and things like that. But now we're at a point where in this raid, it's completely 180 degrees, because if you have the wrong armor on, even a panel or 2, or the wrong special, or just anything, if you're just a little bit off, you are so screwed compared to other raids. It just, I don't know. I'm very frustrated right now, which is why I'm not on the game.
Let me see if I can.
Okay, yeah. If you go back to targets, see if there's something there. I just want to see what George and Dr. Death think about. This is what I already have. I'm not going to be able to hit anything now because my computer doesn't play with all the stuff at one time. But maybe for Friday, I'm shy at an armor. But Mike, if you could go back to go back a slide.
Okay.
And if it's not there, okay, hit refresh on that screen. There we go.
There it is.
Now go back to. It needs another armor. But is this what you're sort of thinking about as far as the building damage?
That's what I got.
The defenses.
Yeah, everything but that special that came with it. I'm not a fan of that one.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So, okay. I was just checking as far as by Friday we'll see how I'm. Probably they're going to slash the damage into a quarter of what it is, but I'm sorry. I didn't move to alpha, and it's the first time we've ever run into this situation where the show starts like right after the raid, so not as prepared as we as I could be. So
I mean, I would on that one. I think the way that I would go is everything the same. I mean, I'd probably do speed system 6 because I don't have any of the resistor engines. They're all on other crap right now. I'm trying to think. No, with siege targeting 4, you can't put HVR on, can you?
No.
I'm trying to remember what the hell I had on that build. Shit.
So, because I use the rad resistor because I already had my proto sense, so I'm just melting them down. I don't see a real.
You know, I think I might actually do autoloader instead of that special, just to get the DPS up.
Yeah.
You know, because I know the difference between the two is reload or cycle time, because it's only one salvo of 120 versus 0.51. So it's 1.2 versus 0.51, which is significant, you know. I think that's probably what I would have done. I think that might have been what I did on that one. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, once we get all this stuff combined, though, is there any chance that we're gonna one-shot some of these things?
Oh, I don't know.
Maybe
I
because
mean,
then the whole equation changes. If we have a full fleet, and everything's going well, are we one-shotting these? And so it's a different sort of situation than having to deal with the autoloader. Because the autoloader, if you're one-shotting stuff, it's just a waste of weight and whatnot.
yeah, I mean, unless you're in range of more than one turret at a time, then it really shines. I think that kind of just depends. Now, the other thing is, though, the welded barrel system has projectile speed. I don't know. That's going to be a tough one. Yeah,
and combat speed.
Yeah, and combat speed, but I don't think you really need the combat speed.
Okay.
That's going to be tough.
Well,
yeah, it's going to be between. I think I'm going to be torn between that and the new special. But again, I'm biased against them because every time they do these things, it's just they just don't do a great job of it. I mean, at least they've bumped it up to where it's more than just 100% or whatever. I mean, still.
Okay.
Here, I want to put in my 2 cents because I think this raid. I want to put in my 2 cents real quick. I think this raid absolutely does suck, but there was one good thing they did in this raid.
Ban you from the forums?
No. We'll talk about that on Friday.
Where's your fucking tinfoil hat, by the way? I told you.
I was asked not to put my tinfoil. No. I was asked not to put my tinfoil hat on tonight. That I need to wait till Friday. So I will wait till Friday, and then I'm going to let loose on Kickside.
I told you to wear the fucking thing tonight, though. I mean, everyone in the sector was all tinfoil hattery, and I'm blaming it on you.
No, they're just all pissed off at Kickside. I haven't been talking to the sector. I don't talk in sector unless you jump in. Everybody in my allies on Ventrilo with me, so I ignore the sector.
Okay. All right. Are we done with the your 2 cents, Dr. Death? I think we should move on.
I just want to say they did one good thing this raid, and I've seen some people bitch about it, but they finally did one thing right. They locked the target based on tech and not based on base level.
Yeah, that's a good move because it shows an understanding of the player base.
I
got to try and give one little good thing to them, even though they are asshats.
Well, if they're going to lock them at all, lock them on the tech as opposed to on the player level. I'm not saying that they should lock them at all, but it's a better way to do it than to just punish returning players and things like that. I didn't like that.
So apparently, Kickside did notice that a lot of people weren't calculating this damage right, because this morning it looks like Chris had posted up a thing. Pro tip from design: building damage is one of the most important stats you have in your arsenal for the siege cycle. That would have been nice to know that was such a significant thing. Like when we were doing the math, I don't know, a couple weeks ago. I'm just saying, it's not like those spreadsheets weren't kicking around, for like a month now.
Yeah, I mean,
the day of the raid.
I did ask some questions after your spreadsheet. I did ask some questions of people in QA and whatnot to make sure that some of the calculations were correct that we were seeing graphically, and they weren't a graphical mistake. I didn't get a response until late last night that those are in fact correct, and the way that works. So Because I saw the way you were building your ships versus the way I was building them, and I was like,
It's the way that
he must know something I don't.
No.
Is my thought.
Nope, I had the wrong calculation apparently.
Okay.
Which
All right. Shrikes. I don't know. 4 days, 5 hours, same as the Eradicator. It's slow, but it's got this bonus when it's submerged, and you're submerged until you stop moving, unless you get surfaced by one of the cavitator buildings, which are sort of like oil rigs floating out there with caverns around them. It's got a +5 radioactive range, and we're going to get into the different weapons. It's a Siege sub. I think that's what all the players were asking for. I love Siege. I just need a sub associated with Siege is what the players were crying out for. Has anybody got any confirmation either way that does the Shrike need to be 100% healed in order to launch?
That's the only thing I haven't had confirmation on. Let me see if I
Okay.
can get some right now, though. Hold on.
Okay. In the meantime, let's.
I see. Can we go
move
back
on.
to that for a second? Or we can do it on this one. I see a significant problem with this ship.
Mhm.
Yeah, they've got the cav fields sitting on those little platforms with the oil rig, but they've also got one of the flamethrowers on each of those platforms. And this has basically what 0.4 range more than what the Eradicator does. And it's still shorter. It's still got a shorter range than what the Hydras do. Now, I've taken Hydras in, and no matter what angle I approach a flamethrower turret on the 81s, I cannot outrange it. Which means this can't outrange it. And if it surfaces, it doesn't have all those extra defense bonuses. It's going to freaking melt.
Well, it's got +80. I think it's got the defensive bonuses. I'm sorry I didn't put a slide together with the Eradicator.
Well, yeah, it's got, okay. So the Phantom has the +80, right? And when it's submerged, it gets all of its ballistic bonuses.
Yeah.
But once it surfaces, it loses all those bonuses, so it's back down to a base of 80. Now look at the numbers. On the Eradicators, we're having to push 99 plus to mitigate damage and still are getting melted. If it goes up against one of those with just an 80, that's all she wrote.
Yeah. We also have this. The other thing. Well, I've highlighted everything that's different between this one and the base ship. Besides the fact that it's got a 4-day long build time. It's an increase in radioactive damage, increase in defenses, and it's got this Dagger of the Deep. Which we don't know what kind of damage it is, but I'm not sure that it matters. And it's a weird one. I'm curious to see how that works out, where it does a shitload of damage every... How often?
68 seconds.
Yeah. Which is a fascinating number, Not 60 seconds, but 68 seconds.
Every other target.
What?
Every other target. It's a long time.
Yeah, it's a long time. Yeah. It's.
I think they did that because this is going to behave like the particle accelerator cannons.
Yeah.
And so they're trying to
Well,
keep
it doesn't
people
have
from
to
sitting
create
outside the
flash,
target and then
yeah.
going in every minute and a half.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, let's. Once they fix the raid, I don't see a reason not to claim these two. The build times are long. They're very similar to what we've seen. The expectation.
I have a reason. I have a huge reason not to claim those two.
Okay.
You gotta get the fucking points.
Yeah. Well, you missed the first part I said. Once they fix the raid. Yes. Once they fix the raid, that's more my issue. They got to fix the raid first to allow players to participate. If players aren't participating, they say fuck this and walk away. It's not good for the players. It's not good for Kixeye. It's not good for anybody. So, but there are bonuses associated with them. A lot of them are very similar to what you see with the Brutal Eradicator. Anybody that know why it's called a Phantom? Is it invisible on the water? And why?
I don't know, and I don't know. I mean, there's no point in it now.
Yeah. I'm just curious why they added the Phantom part in there. But yeah. All right, let's move on. We've already gone for an hour and we haven't really gotten anything. Here's the special associated with it. As Rue would say, it's a chubby special. 40% weight. But it's got some nice stuff, and radioactive reload plus 75, bonus combat speed of 30, supercharge of time 5, and it's not tier locked or class locked. So you can put this wherever in the future. Or so it seems at this point, unless it gets pushed out of usefulness by the the plus 40% weight weapon weight that it adds. So, anybody have any thoughts on that? Or I didn't put any pictures of what Shrikes actually do in nature, which is like fascinating. It's so gory what they do. Okay, no pictures of that, but just so people know, Shrikes capture their prey, and then they will impale them on thorns and sticks and whatnot, so that where they live, it's just dead bodies of what they've captured all around them. They're a fascinating little thing. So they're really small raptors, little hawks, but not really hawks, but they're raptors. But let's go on to the next one. The launcher comparison. I've been trying to get in Discord how many stacks you need for these in order to get a shockwave, because that really shows us which one's a better special. On the left-hand side is the Raptor, which is, I think it's named after Raptor. If you want to chime in, Raptor, good job. I haven't got Hefe's junk, but he's got Raptor's launcher. I'm not sure how that worked out, but if you're on there, Raptor, good job putting that border up against Canada, but you got a launcher named after you. But as what you see that's going on here is that the unlimited one, the one that you can claim normally, has a lower damage from the actual projectiles hitting, and but a higher shockwave. And the Stalker launcher has a I'm so glad they brought back all the sexual predator stuff that they had with the Predator and the Stalker and whatnot back in the day for subs. And we're going to get more into that. I'm really surprised they did this, but it does more initial damage but lower shockwave damage. And I think the defenses of plus 2% for corrosive and ballistic are really not relevant. It's more the trade-off between damage that the actual flechettes or whatever their launchers fire versus the shockwave that they create. And so the most important thing that we could learn is how many stacks does it take in order to create a shockwave?
Well, that's going to be questionable because I'm sitting in an 81 with my hydras testing out some stuff right now. And I have sat for, I've got 12 minutes left. I've been in the target 3 minutes. I've killed 1.5 turrets, and I have not gotten a single shockwave, even though I'm sitting there just continuously firing on the turret. I cannot trigger a shockwave in the target. Did I lose you guys?
Nope. I'm here. I'm actually trying to find out some information. I believe So tentatively speaking, the Shrike does not have to be 100% repaired to launch. I'm not sure about that. That is the initial kind of what I'm finding, but I have to check a few things. Let's see. Uh-oh. Mike's doing math live on the show. Didn't we learn how?
Oh my God! I need to go outside.
What?
Is this time for me to get a beer? So I'm not culpable in any manner.
I'm just sitting here.
Yeah, I think you're
Somebody
doing
else.
right
Who was adding stuff? Was that Dr.
No.
Death?
That was me. 87,
Oh, my
87
goodness.
salvos to kill one turret and not one shockwave.
All right. Yeah, the stack duration is 60 seconds.
There's something broke there.
All right.
Yeah, well, and do you have the special on?
Let me pull my fleet out because I don't remember what's on my Hydras.
Okay, yeah, because the special, which it's going to mean.
But even without the special, the weapon by itself is not taken have to shoot.
Has a ×5 shockwave, which is, you know.
Well, no, that special is only available this rate. I'm using my Hydra fleet in an 81, just testing to see if I can get a shockwave in the target.
The shockwaves and the Hydras have sort of been busted for a while, haven't they? That's been a problem. I mean,
I never built for shockwave with the Hydra, so I don't know. I mean, but I did see the shockwave
people
all
have
the
been
time.
complaining about it for.
Well, see, I get the shockwaves and when I do the base part targets. But I just sat there. It took 87 hits to kill one long-range ballistic turret, and it didn't shockwave a single time. Even though there was a flamethrower turret sitting right next to it, it didn't suffer a single drop of damage. All right, let's see. Reloads 150. Okay, so I'm running a ×5 supercharge on there.
That's interesting.
And I've got siege battery on there too. But it didn't do me anything. I got nothing out of the target. I sat there and pounded on it. 87 hits and not a single shockwave. There's something wrong with that. Why can't you get a shockwave? Do they have that, what was that thing that we used to be able to use to negate?
They might be unreactive.
Yeah, that's it. If they're unreactive, then what good's the Shrike going to be? If you got to surface and hit the thing multiple times to get a shockwave off, you're going to be in trouble. But I can tell you one other thing too, though. I had the fleet stacked together. I'm running C1, CR, and 3 of the radioactive panels on each of my Hydras. And guess what? I barely took any freaking damage, even though I was getting pounded on.
See, and that's the thing is I was half tempted to, and I might actually do it anyway, is throw on 2 charged armors and see what happens in the targets. I have a feeling that they're going to work. I didn't see anything that like that would negate the army. You know what I mean? Like there's no hit and then a little aura thingy from anything. I don't know. We will have to see. We need a lot of testing because clearly things just are a little bit jacked. Oh, do we keep on losing Hefe? What's going on?
I don't know.
Oh, shit. Mike, how many more slides we got?
I am not sure.
What's the next one? Let's see what the next one is, because it's already 7:13. I'm hungry. I want to go eat.
Let's see what the next one is. Annihilator cannon versus the Devastator.
Yeah, escalation. Escalation.
I don't know though. Is it really
So
escalation?
what the hell? Stun time on the... I didn't even catch that the first time I looked at that. Holy crap. I want a ton of these. Oh, I'm so glad they limited it to the Siege Hall class, though. Could you imagine this on a base hit? Holy shit. That it can stun a turret. Wow.
For 2 seconds, every 25 seconds. You get a 1% chance of getting the shot.
Mm-hmm. That's interesting. That's really interesting.
Which part?
The stun on the gun.
Yeah, that son of a gun is. And the weird part I found is the 25. I'm trying to get clarification. It has a reload time of 2, but a cooldown of 25 seconds. So does it fire multiple times?
Ooh.
Otherwise, do we ignore the reload?
Hang on. I think I'm getting answers for a whole bunch of stuff here.
Okay.
Anybody have a fang tooth that can go and get damaged for me? I'm trying.
Sure, what you need.
I just need it to be damaged. Bring it in and see if you can launch it.
Okay.
I'm trying, like, I don't know what the hell to bring this into a target to get damaged because I'm trying, like, in every single salvage with one single fang tooth and I'm killing everything too quick.
You know, I guess you can get SSRBs or.
We'll do a 200. No, never mind.
Yeah. Like,
There's no
They're
200.
they're
Yeah,
not out.
I can't.
Probably not out.
Yeah, I
there's no
can't.
200s. I mean, you could try and.
I'm
You
trying
could
to
try
charge
like
it to the
Snowfall or something like that
Ooh.
with those concussive towers, the torpedo towers.
There's the one in the first. The first one's just those just the ships though. Let's see if I can charge. I tried charging a 75 and none of the missiles fired. Which I think that's, you know, that bug that we talked about several months ago. That was in the 200 as well, but that's another story.
Superman says they won't. No, won't launch. So
Did
I
he
don't.
damage him, or is he just going by what we did in the past?
I don't know. And Doomsday Rebels says the 100 has torps. So the 100's out on the water at this point.
I don't think so. So we may have just debugged something really quickly live, but let's find out. I'm trying to. So anyway, that being said,
He says Damaged Fang won't launch out of my dock.
okay. So Damaged Fang won't launch. Perfect. Let's pass that up here.
All right.
All right. I just took some damage on my fang. I'm going to see if it'll let it do me an automatic relaunch or anything real quick. Give you confirmation.
I think Superman just had done one.
Yeah. Well, it's good to have replicates. So.
Well, that depends on what show you're on, because, you know, like the replicators were not.
We can start
thing,
talking
so.
about World of Ships or whatever it's called. Even though I never played it, or haven't played it in years, but it's a whole different thing, right?
Well, I was thinking replicators from Stargate.
Okay, I was just
But yeah,
I was talking about something else. But yeah.
Let me see if this is going to be a.
Yeah, you can't launch a damaged sub.
Yep. All right. So that one doesn't. So I believe that is. Okay. I think that was on. I gotta get clarification. I can't. I'm not going to speculate on this one. Let me see if I can get some clarification in the next few minutes. And I believe the stacks. I think I got a number, but I want to make sure because that is just an insane amount of stacks.
Yeah, it has to be huge because of the 5 times supercharge.
Dude, it is It is like.
6
Do you
feet?
remember? Do you remember the? No.
6 feet, 6 feet higher?
We're talking 4 digits.
Oh,
Do you
Okay.
No,
remember
we'll never get a fucking supercharge then.
that? See, that's what I'm. But again, when I was looking at the damage that I was doing in that, and now that I have to change the calculation, the damage that I came up with on each of the flechettes is going to be even more than I initially thought. I don't think you need the shockwave at all.
yeah. And so let's go back one step, Mike. I mean, if this proves out to be true, you're better off. Well, I guess you are better off with Stalker if you're never going to get a shockwave. So that's the limited shard drop. We're not talking about that TLC on the show, just because I don't.
Oh, and I
I
got a
don't think it's
confirmation
useful.
about something else for you, George.
Mm.
You gonna be on the slide for a minute?
Actually, no. Let's go forward 2 so we can move forward because we're
I'll step
80
away
minutes in and
I have to step away for a minute. Probably
Okay.
just 2 minutes. I'll be back.
okay.
Ouch. Damn. Yeah, 81s are doing just as much damage as S target to my eradicator fleet.
Ouch! Really?
Yes, I'm half dead, and I don't even have the target half dead yet. Them flamethrowers are doing just as much damage in this target as they do in the S target.
So
This is stupid.
Right. Yeah. Let's quickly go over the PvE stuff. It's I don't know. Is 8 days, 9 hours reasonable for a defender haul? It's not a flag, or I don't know. Is it? Let's start with that point.
Hey, Dr. Death, if you don't mind, can you send me the build code for the one that you just took in the 81?
For the eradicator?
Mm-hmm.
Sure. Let me get out of this target, and I will.
Everybody is 8 days, 9 hours, or I think it's probably 9 days for people that aren't at don't have a officer in R&D 30. Is that reasonable and normal for a defender? It's been a while since I built one. It's not a flag. It feels like this should be half of that. Personally,
They were always more than the. I know that they were always more than the Conquerors because
they were like 15 hours. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, why bother building defenders if you can put in the Conquerors at that thing? But now, at the same point, this thing with that weapon, I mean, is just that's gonna just mess a lot of people up. Not to mention, I mean, snipers are gonna have a blast with this thing now.
Snipers, it doesn't move.
It doesn't have to move.
Okay.
I mean, you could look at the weapons and stuff. It doesn't have to move.
Yeah.
Because all you got to do is have something tank out in front, and this thing will just wipe out every damn thing else.
Well, this is going to be, I'm seeing this as snipers are going to have a lot of fun with this because it does have map speed.
So all right. So the initial response for stacks is 1,200 stacks.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
That's a lot of stacks. You got to be making it rain with that many stacks.
Yep. As far as the sub being launched, so it's not in right now. I think the way that my understanding is right now that they're actually looking to remove that entirely from the game. I don't know if it's going to be going forward or if it's for everything or what, but that's what they're discussing.
So as far as removing the restraint on subs.
Yeah, because it's PvE on the PvE side because you can't, So I'm not sure if that's something that they're discussing just for this hull. I don't know. Like I haven't gotten clarification on that one, and that's why I just don't want to speculate. But there is something going on for that. So I believe the intent anyway is that you will be able to launch the Shrike without being fully repaired. Again, very, very tentative. That's just like kind of really tentative. It's something being discussed. I don't know for 100% sure. I don't know which way it's going, but at least they are aware of it and are looking at it. So that's a massive plus.
Okay.
That's
Let me go-
one good thing to come out of this whole thing, I guess. I mean, because the raid, I'm not. Yeah, I'm still not
You're not feeling the raid,
about
but let's try and speed through some of these slides. The lurker. No, we don't. Well, we haven't talked about. Okay, the lurker. The predecessors were the predator and the stalker, and we're still not certain about the reaper. Typo maybe. I don't know what's going on with that, but the subs they haven't put the nicest names associated with the subs. And this sub has a submerged time of 10 minutes.
Has anyone played StarCraft? I mean, way back when the game first started, they used a lot of names from StarCraft, right?
Mhm.
This is the name of a particular thing in StarCraft, and it kind of fits this hull rather well. So
Okay.
that might be why. I don't know. I mean, no copyright infringement, but I'm just saying.
Okay. Well, it has a 10-minute submerged time. At this point in time, the maximum you can get as far as base attack is like 6 minutes, 30 seconds. So the 10 minutes doesn't play in at this point in time. And you see it has a lot of submerged bonuses. It doesn't have the bonuses if it's surfaced. So it sort of screams to me that there's going to be some sort of conqueror that's going to have a cab field that will surface this. Because otherwise they would have not put a cloak time. They would have set it submerged consistently, right? Because, the Fangtooth.
I don't know about that.
The Fangtooth, if they go through a cab field, will never surface. Right? They just don't surface.
Right, but I think it's because it's a defender that they wanted the rockets to work. Because that was one of the knocks on the Fangtooth, was that you couldn't raise them even with the rocket. And initially they had said that it was supposed to work, and that never happened.
Yeah. Well, as you see, when it gets surfaced, it's it basically has no defenses. It still has 2.5 million armor points, which is a third of what we're normally seeing on tier 8. So at least tier 8 conquerors. Well, more specifically the breacher. So yeah, it's interesting to see how this one's going to work out. It gets more interesting once we get to the weapon. Mike, do you want to go to the weapon? Well, here's the first weapon. Not as enjoyable, I think, as the second weapon. Range of 18. It's the next Piranha depth charge. It increases the longer it fires, but it's not. I don't know. This one's not very sexy. It's Conqueror and Defender only. But yeah, I'm not terribly excited about this. The next one I find more exciting.
But doesn't
Well, we'll go back. If you find this one exciting, the next one I find more exciting.
Which one you want?
well with this one,
I'm waiting for George to talk.
Yeah, this
Okay.
one's concussive at 40 grand, but doesn't the hull have what's the hull have for a bonus for the concussive? Something like it's like 75 or 85%. I mean, it's
75%, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, it's something significant.
And then you
so-
can put on. I don't think you can put on advanced concussive 2, but you can put on 1.
Can you
Because
not do? Is one of them just? Oh,
No,
because it's the yeah
It's class. It's class restricted.
yeah class restricted.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I mean, that could be very interesting if
But
they
the range of 18 is,
well, it's it's the wall. Yeah, you just don't want to walk into that.
Mhm.
Now, I mean, there is because I know a lot of people are kind of going off on this, and one thing is sticking out on this on the stat block on that lurker, and this is why I don't think that we're going to see any hulls with a cab field come out in tier 8. because there is a way to kill these things without even getting shot at by it. So, at least an idea that I have kicking around. But anyway, that's PvP. What's the next weapon? Let's take a look at that next weapon.
Okay, let's go to the torp, right? All right, this one's sort of special as far as torp goes. It weighs a ton, so you're not going to be able to, I'm not sure how many you can put of these on a glut. I'm guessing not too many. I
You
didn't
can't
even
put
try
any.
it, but it has 160 range.
Can you put any on the glut? I thought the glut was a Conqueror hull.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah. So
Oops,
it's
sorry.
defender only. Okay. Yeah, you're
Sorry.
right. So
Yeah,
this
if
is
you
the
could put
only
this on-
ship. The only ship
Yeah.
you can put this on.
If you could put this on a glut, holy shit! Oh man.
Well, I'm just thinking with the weight. Why do they make it weigh so much? Because that's
that
the
130,000
6.5.
damage with a range of that 130,000 damage with a range of 160. That's why.
Well, I'm just thinking the weight is preventing a lot of use of this elsewhere. Below tier 8. So 160 range. We saw the concussive force come out. That's part of this raid as well, right? Or was that previous, where you get a range reduction associated with an increase in damage? So this one looks interesting. I mean, you could put it in. You could put it in your base. You could put it right outside of your base.
You can have a
It
really
seems like
long
there's different
channel.
options. Yeah. Long channels, So yeah, this one's it's interesting. And I'm sure there's going to be a lot of back and forth associated with this as far as how people want to use this. But I just want to introduce this. And I'm assuming it'll be able to be countered by the Comrade.
I don't know.
I don't see a reason it doesn't have an anti-flak or evasion stat. So it seems like it should be able to. It's got a salvo of 4. So remember that when you do your deflection calculations. But I'm assuming that it should be able to be countered by the Comrade.
That's true.
Yeah. So we'll see how that works moving forward.
That'll be really interesting. That makes. Oh, see, now I have the counter to this is even better in my head. I didn't even think of that. I was just trying to think of a way to get around the damn hull.
Okay, let's move on. We've already gone for an hour and a half. We want to let other people on.
Sorry.
All right. No, I'm not blaming you. Tier 8 unlocked. There's no cheap way to get into the lock store. You just need to claim one of these. So the cheapest way to get into the unlock store, if you have the Brutal and the Eradicator, is just claim the Shrike at 20 million. 45 million for the Phantom Shrike.
Those numbers are just so.
They're so high relative to what we're seeing.
They're obscene right now, given the difficulty of this raid. I mean.
Yep. So let's move on to the tier 8 locked. Lurker at 20, but again, it's limited with a maximum claim of 3. Yeah. I mean, doesn't the Hyper 30 look even more ridiculous at this point at 25 million?
25 million, yeah.
Still 25.
Oh, and the Missile Defense System 3 at 25 million. Yeah, there's a lot of just ridiculous looking stuff.
I mean, they're pricing out.
To,
yeah, they're pricing out like the majority of the damn player base. And, I've said this, I don't know how many fucking times now. You can have a pond. If there are no guppies in that pond, the bass are going to fucking die. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
So, well, the tricky thing they've done here is they've taken the base parts, titanium, uranium, which are the cheap ways to get in, or the shards. Normally, but the shards aren't really normally that way. But the base parts, the advanced resources, are in the lock store as opposed to the unlock store to force you to spend to get into the lock store, because it's a minimum of 20 million in order to get in here. So it's a tricky little thing that they did here. Let's go to the next one. Tier 7 unlocked. The Raptor launcher, the insulated charge capacitor. 20 between the two of them. Inferno Dragons, their Greta's is still 35 million.
What the
And
hell?
there's not any specific tokens for this. Build tokens. I mean, this thing is about to be replaced. I mean, we said it was going to last for a year, and they started it off in February. So yeah, still no tokens, and still the maximum price was 40 million. So I don't even understand what they're doing here with the FM. It's not good. Whatever they're trying to do, the rest of the stuff is whatever. As you see in this unlock store, you can get in for cheap with the uranium, titanium, or base parts.
Wow. Okay, so I mean, this is completely out of left field. Keegan just actually went into Discord and essentially told Kicks to go fuck themselves. He's quit, and his shit got deleted right away. Oh, this is interesting. This is not a good sign.
Yeah.
What was that,
especially
George? Who did?
Keegan.
Oh,
Especially
no.
if they're heavily moderating the Discord chat. Ooh. Yeah, you know what? I think I'm gonna go find a beer, have a cigarette, sit and relax, go have some dinner, and I'm gonna visit this crap tomorrow. Wow.
Okay. But it's basically, as far as, again, everything I'm saying is assuming that they're going to fix things. They may not, but historically they have. But I'm just commenting on some of the older things that they, product or whatnot, has decided to keep the prices at so high. The ownership cost of a Inferno Dragon at this point is really high for up and coming players. Between these points and the fact that there's no tokens available for them, so I find it to be a problem. I mean, I have 5 Inferno Dragons and a Greta, so I have an extra one. So it's not like I'm bitching for myself. I'm just saying for players trying to progress, it's not good. Anything else on Tier 7 unlocked? Okay, let's move on, Mike.
Actually, before you guys move on, I'm actually gonna pop off for a little bit. I'm gonna try and get back on, but I'm a little bit past where I have to go. Y'all have fun. Have fun with the raid if you're planning on doing it today, and good luck. I'll probably try it again tomorrow, and I'll see if I can get back on in a little bit too.
Okay, sounds good.
All right. Good night, guys.
Good night.
Okay. All right. Tier 7 locked is the two weapons, associated PvP weapons that we've talked about earlier, 12 million each. The only build tokens we see available are 24-hour tokens for the Revenant and the shards. So let's move on unless somebody got anything to say on these.
Nah.
And Tier 6 locked is tokens of, tiers besides the sloth. Yeah, it's actually, even the sloth, it all appears to be useless. So it's but it does appear that you can get a lot of tokens for the Cadies. You can get them on both of them, so that's fascinating.
Hey, I have discovered something in the target so that people need to pay attention to. You know,
Okay.
the buildings that got them little flags on them?
Yeah, that means they have the angle. They have a specific angle of fire.
Yeah, not only that, though, anytime you get within range of one of those things, your reload slows down.
Okay. All right, let's move to the next one. I'm sorry to skip over you. I'm just trying to get through the slides so I can bite
Oh
other
no,
people.
that's not a problem. I'm hitting targets and I'm seeing little
And
things
take a
that aren't making
leak
any
and,
sense
you
to
know.
me, so
Yeah. And just, after all this time, I need to take a leak and whatnot. Tier 6 unlocked, for lower level players, 2 million for the Hydra, the Boon. Not sure how they work at this point. CL3, we know CL4 is coming out soon. So, yeah. See how many slides I made. Let's go, Mike. All right, here's the 100 target that we are talking about earlier that seems to be killing everybody. And what Dr. Death was talking about before is these little white tulip-looking things. You see 3 of them on the right-hand, center to right-hand side. That's what you're talking about, Dr. Death, right?
no,
Okay.
it's coming off the Cav Field buildings.
Okay. Well, okay. Then we were talking
When you
about 2
roll
different
into that
things.
field there, you're losing reload.
Okay. What I was talking about was these other ones, these little white tulips. That means,
Yeah, no, that's for limit. Isn't that for the firing arc?
yeah, that's what I just said. Yeah.
Yeah, no, the little
So
yellow
that's-
flag, the Cav
Mhm.
Field flag. For some reason, if you get in one of those fields, it's slowing down your reload.
Okay. Alrighty.
So one thing I
yeah.
have noticed, if you can go around and take those out first, you're able to kill the turrets a bit faster.
Okay. All
But
right.
it
Well,
ain't
I put the
helping
link.
really much.
Yeah, I put the link in the right-hand side. There we go. In case everybody would like to join the show, let's see. I think the next one's the 102, if I float it correctly. There we go. We only got 1, 2, 3, 4, but similar. I have no experience hitting these targets, as this show started right when it was active in my world. So I don't know anything about this. All we've heard is bad things. So we'll see how that works out. So do we have any more slides? I don't know that I want to go through these. These are what we've talked about 3 or 4 times. These are the individual turrets and how they work. If you got, like I said earlier, I've been on the show for an hour and 45 minutes. I need to go to the bathroom. But if you guys want to talk about this for a little bit, I'll be back in a minute. But
The text in this right here is a blatant lie from Kickside. No matter what angle you approach it at, you cannot snipe it. You cannot hit that thing without taking damage. And it says right there, keep your distance. You won't take a shot from it. Bullshit. There is no way to outrange that turret.
Yeah, I've watched people try hit a few of them, and nobody's outranged them yet.
I don't care what angle you approach it at, you will not outrange it. That's just more lies from Kickside. Yeah, I'm calling you out, Kickside team, CM, Chris, all y'all.
Well, hi everyone.
How you doing, buddy?
I haven't started the raid yet. It started for us about 40 minutes ago in Gamma. But I would still had a last piece of armor I was waiting to refit. I was considering speeding it up. So I watched a few other people hitting, and I don't even know if I want to bother. To be honest with you,
It's bad.
Yeah, it's very bad from what I've seen. I mean, those pyros, whatever they are, flamethrowers, they are kicking out so much damage. They're unavoidable. One of the players I've seen, she's got a speed of 76 on her fleet, and she still couldn't outrun it. So if you can't outrange you can't outrun them. It's just, and the damage coming off them, it's ridiculous. It's unacceptable.
It's mandatory damage.
Yeah. People are taking a fleet and a half or 2.5 fleets of damage. And these are not small players. These are players from big alliances, that are getting their asses kicked in these targets,
Yeah, it's ridiculous. The flamethrower damage.
That is what's doing all the damage.
Yeah.
For the majority of the damage, what I'm seeing. And they're taking it in lower level targets as well.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because the 80s will just eat the Eradicator. I've got a full fleet, and even the flamethrowers in the 80s are doing just as much damage in the 80s as the ones in the S.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if they whoever's in charge is setting the damage of these things, but I don't know. They're a lunatic. This doesn't ingratiate themselves to the player base, does it? I mean, it's. As we know, we've already got a decreasing player base, and making things almost impossible to do, or just not everybody's daddy owns an oil company,
Yeah.
We can't all afford or want to coin that way. I mean, I'd say I could coin this, I suppose.
Well, no, I'll explain to you why all this is happening on Friday. I've been asked to wait till Friday to discuss this, and I got banned from forums because I pointed it out on forums. So I'm going to talk about this on Friday and let the player base know what I found out.
Yeah, I mean, but the simple fact is, if you do start smashing coins or shoveling coins into this, it just encourages them to keep doing it.
No, just wait till Friday, buddy. And I'll tell everybody from right now, I wouldn't spend any coins on this until you hear the truth.
Yeah. But I'm not in a hurry. To be honest with you, I'd be happy to come back on Friday because at the moment, basically, it feels like I'd be using a bow and arrow against a tank. You know what I mean?
No. You're getting a pebble, buddy. You don't get the added pounds of pressure for a bow and arrow. They're just giving you a pebble and saying, flip it with your finger and your thumb. It's ridiculous. And did you hear earlier when they pointed out we got the message from Kix about what the number of stacks were going to be on the new Shrike's weapon required to get a shockwave?
Yeah, that's if anyone can get a Shrike, obviously.
Well, I've already got the Shrike.
Oh, well done.
So, but I mean, if you put the weapon on there, you're going to have to get 1,200 hits to get a shockwave. I don't think a Shrike's going to be able to sit underneath being hit on that long to get a shockwave off ever.
I don't know. Sometimes you think they can't do anything more stupid, and then they do. It's just a whole new level. They can always take it to some other level that just upsets or disappoints players. I remember when we used to look forward to doing raids. Really used to look forward to it, and now it's just become an incredibly tiresome thing to do because the amount of damage that the way these have been tuned for the last year or more, it's just been ridiculous. I don't think anyone is finding this enjoyable at the moment. Obviously, it wasn't until a little while ago we finally got the leaderboard come up, and I see there are some people that have obviously got ridiculous mid points again. Well, it's not ridiculous at the moment because it's supposed they can claim everything that's there, but I would say they probably blitz stuff. But
a lot of those people that are in the top of the leaderboard, they're not even sitting with points like what we normally see in a raid.
No.
And half of those people are Kix people.
Yeah.
No, I don't think so.
I just think they've got the balance on this all wrong. People, the vast majority of the player base don't have a flute ready. Myself included. Normally I do have, but I've seen people with full fleets. I've watched a couple of high-level players with full fleets, and they were still taking ridiculous amounts of damage.
Yeah.
What's crazy is my Hydras are way outperforming my Eradicators.
In what target?
In the 80s?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I wanted to drop that one in. Yeah. One of our guys, he took in his Hydras into an 83 and almost got it, with the Hydras. So, that was his first attempt at it. But yeah, he almost got it, which apparently is better than some people have been doing with Eradicators. So,
Oh yeah, I lost a full fleet of Eradicators on an 81.
yeah.
I autoed a 60 and a 63 with my Hydras, and I got like 15, 17 minutes damage respectively.
I mean, all right. So for damage, in that respect, it's not so bad. Okay, you could say that's acceptable. But
And that's about right where it should be. I mean, for 60s using last year's fleets.
yeah, but how
Yeah,
many?
that's a good damage ratio right there.
How many feckers you got to hit to get these top prizes? I mean, look at how many what you've got to actually score to be able to say, yeah, I've got what I need.
Yeah. Oh, I know it's a grind, but a person in my ally, my wife actually did a 83 with her Hydras and took 2.5 hours damage.
Yeah.
So, and our Eradicators can't even touch an 80. So,
Yeah, it appears from what I've seen and heard, this all started, it appears that it's been tuned for having the flagship and full fleet, skull fleet. I still see people complaining that they have that and still not doing well, but who knows what the build is. And, we talked earlier on the show as far as the build might be really important, but the build shouldn't be as important at this point in time because we have so limited experience with the target. They should not be punishing us for not having the build correct. It should be a greater sense of latitude as far as what the build can be, and then players can improve on those builds as opposed to just, oh, don't bring that shit around here and this slap you down. That's really not what should be happening in the first raid of a cycle, at least in my opinion.
Well,
Yeah, I'm just watching. Elmo.
Are we done with
from
the
Gimps?
slides?
I'm just watching Elmo from Gimps. Yeah, he's in an 83. He
Are we done with the
has over.
slides?
Sure, we might bring him back, but you go ahead and stop.
He's just lost over 90% of his full Eradicator fleet in what was already a part damaged 83. That is crazy. I mean, he's I would call him a pretty good shipbuilder. You know what I mean? He normally is around the 600 plus medals mark in the game. He's a good solid player. Yeah, and he's not able to do an 83 with Eradicators in one hit. That's just ridiculous.
Hey, Hefe, is my mic too loud?
oh my God, I just went through my roof.
Sorry.
I don't know. I mean, everybody thinks your mic's too loud. I don't know why, but yeah.
But
I mean, I can turn you down just for your own protection.
it's
Because I'm
not for me,
sure,
it's for them.
even if I turn you down 5%, there's going to be somebody out there that says your mic's too loud. But
Yeah. But John, I did the 81 as well, and with the flag in the corner, and I melted in like 1 to 2 minutes off of like one thrower. The throwers have the same damage if it's in an 81 or a 100. It's not right.
Yeah, I mean, we was hoping to be able to stick a flag in the corner with 4 armored, fully built Eradicators and an empty flag, yeah, and be able to do the top set, which is not unreasonable in the first raid of a series. It's a pretty, I'd say that expectation,
No, it's not, because it's still a long grind.
yeah, and then you need the full fleet for the second raid series. You need to have the flag built, to keep the damage at the same level. But At the moment, it isn't balanced. I mean, the damage they're kicking out is it's tuned wrong. It's tuned badly.
I want to rip him up, but I'm gonna take Dr. Death's approach and not do anything till Friday, just because I'm gonna be nice. But I was ready to unload, but I'm not going to right now.
Yeah, I don't think I'll be doing anything until Friday if I had a look at this. Plus, I mean, depends what time he calls Friday, because I mean, the raid for me started at 1 a.m. Thursday. You know what I mean? Because it's now nearly 2 a.m. in the UK. So in Europe, it's sort of 2 a.m., 3 a.m. nearly. So that the raid times are starting for us over here are sort of like early hours the next morning.
Did anybody see the live stream that Mike from Crow's Nest did?
I haven't.
No.
He did it the opposite way. He only had one fully built ship, and it was the flag. So he parked 4 in the corner and went and did the 102, and he got 90% of it done with one ship.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay. Well, next raid I'll have the flag built. I mean, they chopped a shit ton of offers in there. You can go, if you want, you can go and buy loads of tokens. And
but it shouldn't be needed. It's the first raid of the cycle. Come on.
Exactly.
But also, Jordy, didn't he also die on those targets?
No, he obviously went in with the full fleet, but the rest weren't fully built. He finished it off with his second ship, which only had 2 armor instead of another ship which had 3 armor on it. And I believe his total repair for the 102 was 5 gold.
Okay, I heard he died on them, so yeah,
He did a lot worse on the 100.
Yeah.
But he certainly, what he did on the 102, and that was, dead on the raid starting, sort of 10 minutes in. What he did on the 102 wasn't as bad as people were saying. So obviously the splash is a major factor, because that must be what's whittling away at the rest of the fleet. And it was only the radioactive thrower turret. You could see that eating into eating into its health bar.
Yeah, and they can't be outranged. I mean, as we said, we saw earlier, it says that you can. I haven't seen anybody. Yeah, I've watched a lot of hits from players trying to approach these from different angles, coming this side, even trying to come across from the other side of an island or something like that, and they've not been able to outrange it at all. Like at any angle. So that because of where they've placed maybe mountains and things like that you can't do it. I mean, I don't know, unless no one's quite yet found that sweet spot, and if anyone does, please post that video, you know what I mean, for the rest of us, or for the sake of the game, basically, because the damage that people are taking these targets is outrageous at the moment.
Yeah, but Ben, one of your progeny is somebody they can do the 83 with Hydras.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
My wife did the 83 and got 2.5 hours damage with the Hydras.
Okay. Yeah. I clicked on the game and I saw I got a little PM.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure who it was from, but yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but she did refit the fleet some. She put some ferrite armor on it.
Okay.
So,
but probably not completely, because you want to probably keep some of the charge in those lower level targets.
Yeah. Well, she's got
super heavy too. Yeah, super heavy too. You can't even get all of them on there if you wanted to. You can only put on like 1 or 2.
Right. Well, if you go full ferrite, you can only get like 3 weapons.
Yeah. As you learn, you don't want to go full ferrite.
Right.
I'm just kidding. That's a joke. That's really something else. But yeah,
I know what you're talking about now.
I do have an idea. if
Okay.
that may be possibly working right at the point, get your flag as absolute tough as you can. Let it go in and start attacking the flamethrowers, and wait till they stop. Then bring the other 4 in and kill it quickly, and then back on out. You'll take some damage on the flag, but you won't take as much damage on the rest of the fleet, and you can get them killed. Then you can go in and range most of the other stuff.
It's a good idea.
With speed or whatever.
Yeah. That's what we were talking about earlier, taking multiple angles.
But it's not multiple
bringing
angles. It's not multiple angles, Hefe. It's one angle. You bring in the number 1, you let it take the damage from the flamethrower. Then, as soon as it times out, you've got enough time to bring them all in at the same exact place and fire one volley at it and kill it.
Okay. I'm just thinking that it might be easier to. You have one ship attracting the damage, and then you take the other. After it's being fired at, you take the other 4 in and blow it up.
Said. Yeah, that's what I just said.
Yeah, but I thought somebody else said that it retargets and splits its firing.
That happened to me 4 different times in a row. I was driving past, and I wasn't doing like he's doing. He's talking about pulling up and sitting, letting it fire on the ship, and then bringing the rest of the ships into that exact spot. What I was doing was trying to drive by sniping, and I had my flag out front as a tank. But as soon as the flag got out of its firing range, it automatically retargeted and finished firing on the back 4.
And don't forget about the splash damage as well.
So
if you keep the other 4 out and let one take the initial hit, and go in with the other 4, they're not going to take any damage because it's not going to fire.
Yeah. So is it okay? Is it not firing because it's already fired at the flag, and because the flag's with the other 4?
It only fires for a certain amount of a salvo, and then it has like a 20-second or a 10-second, whatever it is.
Well,
it's got a pause, a cool down phase, if you want to call it that.
Yeah. But it was just said that as soon as his flag got arranged when he was trying to use the drive-by shooting.
No, you don't need to drive by.
Yeah.
If it's not going to fire at you, just park there and kill it quick.
He's saying when he attempted that, as soon as the rest of the fleet got in range, it fired. It started firing again.
Well, I had my tank.
It's the timing on the issue.
Yeah.
You have to keep the other 4 just out of splash range, and the second it quits firing, you bring them in to kill the turret.
Yeah. I've got that. What I'm saying is, what I was trying to say is it because he was going sideways, and as soon as it saw it fires once a target and has a cooldown, but if another target comes in,
No. What was happening, mate?
Does it then fire at the others as well and start?
No. What was happening? What was happening was that when I went into when I was going across, because I was going at a parallel angle to the target, right?
Yep.
Just on the edge, sniping it, right? I had my flagship sitting about 1 ship length ahead of the other 4 ships. Okay, and I'm running across. Now, as I went across, it activated on the flag. Now, it shoots off like 10 fireballs in a row as a salvo, right?
Yeah.
Well, like the first 3 fireballs went after the flag, but then the flag was out of its range, and the other 7 fireballs automatically were retargeted onto my other ships.
Gotcha.
Now, ours can't do that. Ours fire at one spot and just keep firing. But for some reason, their flamethrower turrets can retarget.
There'd be nothing stopping you modifying a little bit what Rum just said. Hello, Rum, by the way. Was that if you were to drive your flag to attract the flame fire, but keep moving, and then move the others in, your flag would take less damage as well.
Yeah.
Right, but if your flag gets out of its firing range, then your other ships are going to get hit.
Yeah, I'm not saying to get out of the firing range. I'm saying to stay in firing range, but outrun it.
But you can't outrun it. We've tried running past it at a combat speed of 86 and still can't.
It will fall behind. You might not be fast enough, but it will fall behind, and you will take less damage than if you sit in it.
86 is pretty fast. I think that's pretty much max. I mean, that's pretty fast. I mean, most of us are running in 60s and maybe 70s.
Yeah, it's stupid the way they've got that flamethrower turret set up. The target wouldn't be bad if they didn't have that flamethrower turret punishing so much.
Mm-hmm.
I think the decimal point's in the wrong place on this turret, to be honest with you.
Yeah. They tuned that turret wrong. You know, and that's the one thing that's getting everybody, isn't it? That's unbalancing it at the moment. You know.
Yeah, unavoidable damage. You know, but I'm thinking we've been going for 2 hours. I put the link in the YouTube chat. We can go to the after show at this point, and we can keep on talking about whatever. It's just, people have already had to listen to 2 hours of us talking. So does anybody have any parting words, and we can leave it at that, or what's the thought?
Just disappointment. I'm just not going to unload on Kicks today because it's just not right. So I'll wait till Friday.
Can I just ask, what was the speed that you said you had again on your fleet?
My fleet's running a 72, but we had another person that's running a high-speed fleet that's set up just for speed with Magnus 3, and they're running an 86.
I'm running at 81.
And they could get past it. They could not outrun the flamethrower.
I've got one of my players. He's just messaged me back, and he said he's got 87 on combat speed without a crew, and he's still not outrunning it as such. Probably, You
just can't do it. I mean, it looks like it looks like it's a splash-based weapon with accuracy. Is the way it's acting. Because you can't outrun it no matter how fast you go, and you can't snipe it. There's no way to avoid the damage. You got to eat the damage.
Okay. All right. Mike, Ben, you guys haven't talked on that. Is there anything else you want to add before I take it to the after show?
Yeah, I want to say something because I'm not going to do it even though I'm a fucking coiner because I'm pissed right now. But if there's anybody out there that is a coiner, the only thing I can think of doing that might make these targets doable is take your flagship, flip those ferrites off, put 4 of those D6Rs on there to get maximum radioactive defense, and see if you can tank that stupid fire turret for minimum damage. Because if you got 4 of them on there at 30% a pop, and then you could put on, the ballistic special out of research.
Mm-hmm.
And that might be the way to go to negate this massive amount of fucking damage that turret's given, because that's what's doing it to everybody's one type of turret. That's it, the thrower turret. It's just you can't dodge it, you can't evade it, you can't. It's stupid.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Is that the last before we go to the after show? Again, there's still going to be plenty of content in the after show if you choose to join. That the links on the right hand side if you guys want to join. But it's been over 2 hours, so I don't think we need to subject all these people to another couple hours. So, any words?
Let's torture them.
No. Alrighty. All right. Well, see y'all on Friday. Well, hopefully we'll be seeing a different raid where the stuff that we're talking about right now is no longer reality, and you can proceed along your raid in a way that you're normally used to, and that's my hope. And then I've already heard that. High Lord and Dr. Death want to go off on one thing or another, but link for the last time, and feel free to join us. And hopefully they change the raid. And see you all on Friday. And take care, everybody.